and with the quality, brand and trust of IDP IELTS, it brings in both the best of the worlds together for the students. The English as a base in India is percolated at various levels. That means in schools, colleges and even at home.
However, nowadays I have seen a lot of students are depending on AI and they get a very generic SOP.
With ChatGPT and other such platforms being available on the tip of the finger.
Alright everybody, my name is Vandana Tarwani and I am an IELTS instructor at PW. And today in this podcast, I have with me the director of IELTS IDP. And together we are going to talk a lot around IELTS and study abroad. So stay tuned till the end if you want to grab those wisdom nuggets. Hello sir, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for getting me to this podcast.
Okay.
Great to be part of the podcast.
Yes, it is our honor to have you here with us. So in today's podcast, Jagdeep sir, we want to talk about IELTS exam, its scope here in India, and study abroad opportunities, especially for students in India who are from small cities like tier 2 and tier 3 cities. So for me, the very first question that I want to ask you is that India has now become one of the countries from where most students, I mean a lot of students are taking the IELTS exam. So what do you think is the future scope of this exam is?
Yes, there are 3 to 4 reasons. Number one is India has got the largest young population and a very ambitious population. And they want to grow beyond degrees in terms of future ambitions. That means in countries abroad, better career paths, and as well as personal growth. With respect to IELTS reach, we have many test centers in India, both in terms of IELTS on paper as well as IELTS on computer. And we are opening even more test centers so that to be closer with the test aspirants. Also, we need to understand that the English as a base in India is percolated at various levels. That means in schools, colleges, and even at home. So all the young students definitely have an advantage over other countries in terms of realizing their future overseas dream in popular English-speaking destinations.
Okay. So this collaboration between IDP IELTS and PW IELTS is pretty unique. How do you think this is going to help our students?
Great. I mean to say, Physics Wallah is a brand in itself in terms of being one of the biggest edtechs. It has got the largest student community, and with the kind of trusted teaching in various fields and with the quality, brand and trust of IDP IELTS, it brings in both the best of the worlds together for the students. And especially important because the reach of Physics Wallah to tier 2 and tier 3 cities allows high quality IELTS education being available to every student despite the pin code where he is from.
I absolutely agree. Also, I want to touch the topic of scholarships for students because a lot of students are interested in going abroad. However, they consider scholarship option just because of the finances and all that stuff. So let's imagine that let's take a case where a student performed average in academics in their schools. The student was not brilliant, let's say, and they were able to score average marks. However, in IELTS, they got a very good score, let's say somewhere around 8, 8.5. In this case, what are the chances of scholarships for the student?
Scholarships are not just based on academic performance of the student. IELTS aspects definitely help students in terms of reaching out to the benchmark of that scholarship. However, there are many other factors which the universities consider in terms of the kind of achievement the student has done, how well he has articulated himself in his SOP in terms of what he wants to achieve within that particular school or a college where he intends to go, and what he wants to do beyond that particular school or a college. So after considering all these factors, the scholarships are given, and hence it is not just based on academic performance only.
So that means an average student also has a good chance of getting?
Every student has got a great chance to get a scholarship, and a good IELTS score or any IELTS score boosts his chance to get a scholarship.
Okay. I also want to talk about SOPs, since you just mentioned SOPs, statement of purpose, which is an incredibly vital document for a student in their study abroad journey. However, nowadays I have seen a lot of students are depending on AI and they get a very generic SOP using AI. What advice would you give to such students?
Yeah, I do understand that with Chat GPT and other such platforms being available on the tip of the finger, and students get lured in getting an easy SOP straight away derived from such platforms. However, all the students need to understand that SOP is very, very personal. It talks about the achievement of a student in his or her own words. And that is what the schools, the colleges, and the universities look for when they study that particular SOP. It is a holistic document which talks about achievement not just in the academic world, but in terms of what he did beyond academic. For example, any extracurricular activities, in terms of contribution to the society, in terms of sports, or anything which in terms of which enhances the personality of the student to do well beyond after he completes his graduation in a school or a college.
Absolutely, right. So it's like connecting the dots right from the childhood when a student starts their academic journey to this point when they are planning study abroad, they have to connect the dots.
Correct. It is connecting the dot. It is basically reliving your life and all the key achievements what you have done. And these are quite personal, which any AI cannot replicate.
Absolutely, right. So I also want to touch upon your experience of taking the IELTS exam, since you just some time back you told me that you went ahead and took the IELTS exam, computer-based version without preparation. So how was the interface? I want to first touch the topic of interface because a lot of students feel nervous since they don't feel confident of taking computer-based IELTS exam just because of the interface. So how was your experience? Is it easy to handle?
I think it is the smoothest test which you will ever give in terms of interface, and the kind of environment, the test environment which we give to any IELTS on computer aspirant is one of the best. Secondly, in terms of the questions, I mean, it's the same as on IELTS on paper. The only difference is that instead of writing, you are just typing this particular test. There are a lot of advantages in giving IELTS on computer. One is when you are writing, you can always come to know that how many words which you have typed, which is which is not available when you're doing an IELTS on paper. Secondly, if you want to change certain words, you can go back. You don't have to strike through. You can actually write those particular words in terms of. Similarly, even in reading comprehension, you can scroll the screen up and down, copy that particular text, fill in the blanks. So these are very, very advantages which we get in IELTS on computer.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Even I took this computer-based exam back in 2023, and I always tell my students that the biggest advantage ever is that you get to see the word count, which is
Yes.
not possible in the paper-based.
Correct.
But
Correct.
then I tell them it all comes down to your speed of typing. If that's good, go for it. Otherwise, paper-based.
Actually, speed of typing is also a misnomer because and a very, very, even who is a novice at computer can appear for computer delivered tests, and with subpar typing skills can easily complete the test well within time, and even then also he will get time to go back and look at his questions from that perspective.
And a very helpful thing is that they show you small little clips to
Correct.
just guide you how you can tackle that interface, which extremely was helpful, at least in my case.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, so now I also want to talk about students who feel that it's just any other English exam, English hi to hai, and then they prepare by watching random YT videos, as in YouTube videos, and a lot of stuff is floating on the internet for preparation of the IELTS exam. What is your take on this?
So, first thing, if you can just watch a fitness video and then run a marathon, obviously it is not possible. Same is the case with IELTS preparation. When you watch these random YouTube videos, you must understand these videos are not benchmarked to IELTS authentic standards. So they could either make you overconfident that you are already there and you will get the scores, or they can generate some kind of fear in you that the test is very, very tough. So that is why it is very, very important to go through authentic IELTS prep resources, especially, I mean, to say the way Physics Wallah has these authentic IELTS preparation and mock tests, and backed by IELTS official material which is given by IDP, and webinars and seminars which we do in terms of providing IELTS boot camps and expert clinics, really help students in a very, very structured way so that they get the desired score in the first go itself.
Absolutely. I totally agree. There are also other English language proficiency exams other than IELTS. So what's your take on this? Why IELTS is considered as the most reputed English language proficiency exam?
IELTS has been an English proficiency test for over 3 decades. It is recognized by about 12,500 organizations across 140 plus countries. And this recognition is due to its ability to truly measure the effective communication skills in reading, listening, and writing of a student, so that he can perform well as, whether it be at college, whether it is a job requirement, or even has to integrate with respect to the society. Hence, based on this fairness of this test, the test which has gone through for decades, I don't think so there is any other test which can match its scale as well as the trust in the quality. One more thing which I want to add is, apart from giving just the score, the test goes to enhance the real life English communication skills of the student, which helps the student in realizing his or her global dreams.
Yes, absolutely. So another thing that's irking a lot of students these days is the tightening of visa rules. So what is your take on this, like about the visa rules which are getting tightened day by day?
So, I mean to say, immigration policies have moved up and down, and this is not the first time we have encountered such a scenario. It has happened in the past. Definitely, what is very important for the students to understand that is IELTS benchmark standards have remained the same for past 3.5 decades. Despite these immigration policies doing their flip-flop, an IELTS benchmark has always been realized by all these particular countries. Hence, the students need not worry about these temporary phases which they are encountering now. There is a lot of requirement for skills related to AI, skills related to health, skills related to even data management, law, commerce, which are required in all these popular English-speaking destination countries, including Germany.
Okay. So one more thing here. I want to talk about one specific example, if you have that in your mind, of some memorable success story through IDP.
That's okay. I can talk about my daughter itself, herself, as and I'm indebted to IDP because she had appeared for her IELTS through IDP, and even for selection of a course in McGill in psychology honors, and she went through the structured program of IELTS learning. She took about a month in preparing for IELTS. I mean to say, daily about 1 hour of practice in terms of in all the sections of this particular test. This was followed by a benchmark test in the end as a mock test or a practice test. She even maintained an error log in terms of which are the areas which are weak in terms of preparing for IELTS. And that allowed her to improve her scores in the mock test. And I was very happy that within 3 weeks or so, she was able to score about 8.5 band in that particular test. And that too in the first attempt. And that's really amazing. And the credit goes to a structured IELTS learning program, which helped her in getting that particular score.
So, do you think that it's important to learn in a structured way and save time, or learn through watching YT videos and go through the long route, which is better?
As I always said, it is very, very important that IELTS learning is done in a very, very structured way. It is first selecting your target course or a target country and understanding what is the IELTS benchmark score which is required. Once you understood that benchmark score, work backwards in your training program. Make a structured training programs where there are some daily routines with respect to reading, writing, listening, and speaking. With reading and writing, I would say that it is very, very, with reading and listening, I would say it's very, very important that the students need to get accuracy first and speed little later. And with writing and speaking, I would highly recommend that you do not compromise in terms of not getting a coach. It is very important that you go through a very, very structured program if you want to drastically improve on the scores, especially with respect to writing and speaking.
That saves time and money also, because sometimes students have to take another attempt. And
Yes, definitely, I agree with that.
Okay, now one question that students sometimes ask is that India itself has good universities. So what is the need to study abroad?
As I said, Indian students are beyond degrees. This is definitely very good that Indian colleges and universities are gaining good ranks in terms of global ranking. However, students' aspirations are beyond degrees. They want to get better jobs. They want to have a global exposure. They want to have a personal growth. They want an exposure which is much more wider than specifics to which can be defined by a college or a university as such. Hence, it is the demand to study abroad will be there, was there, and will continue to be there in future also.
Yeah, agreed. So, any one piece of advice for any student who is planning for January or September 2026 intake, or for their parents?
So, January 2026 is, I believe then you are almost ready. That means you have already selected the country and the target course which you are looking at. And this is the right time, October, which I'm looking at, which is just 3 months down the line. This is the time you need to start your IELTS preparation and start making a very, very structured program. The first thing you should do is to appear for an IELTS mock test, see where you stand. Thereafter, devise a training program and a learning program, and I would recommend through Physics Wallah in terms of preparing for their course and achieve that desired score through a structured preparation, as I talked about in terms of all the sections, whether it is listening, reading, writing, or speaking. That would allow the student to improve gradually, and also the training matrix will allow him to or her to be benchmarked in terms of what is the desired score he is about to get.
Okay, one last question before I wrap up. If somebody is aiming for September 2026 intake, which is a major intake, should they start their preparation for the IELTS exam now? If yes, why now? Why not in 2026?
I mean, if you're looking at September 2026, you've got a very long runway to prepare. I think so. This is an ideal time, and that means you're very, very clear in terms of what you want in September 2026. That means this is the time you need to select your course and your target country, and definitely you can have a very, very detailed learning program with respect to IELTS. That means you can improve or you can get higher IELTS band scores through a very, very structured learning program. That means you need to start immediately now in terms of whether it be, as I always said, that it's helpful that if you get coached in terms of IELTS learning, and it will definitely help you to achieve those desired scores much in advances.
Yeah, and like you already we said earlier that it is just one step. There are other steps also.
Yes.
You have to get your SOPs and LOR ready.
Yes, it's very important that the IELTS test you appear now, so that at least one step you have completed, and there are many other requirements with respect to SOPs, documentation, application documentations, visa requirements and all that, which definitely take a lot of time, and that it gives you a lot of free time in terms of preparing for these other requirements as well.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for your valuable insights.
Most welcome.
And it was an honor to have you here today.
It is really a privilege and honor for me on behalf of IDP IELTS to be associated with Physics Wallah, and with such a trusted quality brand in terms of enhancing our reach to every student in India. And we together will be there in the personal screens of every student and realize their global dreams.
Yes, I hope so.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time.